I've heard it said that women are emotional or more emotional than men, and I just think that's kind of crazy. I think about the moods of men, the poutiness, the withdrawing, the sulkiness, the anger, the rage, the holes in the wall, the road rage, the refusal to be happy when happy things are happening. And so maybe men and women are differently emotional, generally speaking, but men are certainly emotional. And here's the thing that I need us men to get very clear on is your emotions are your responsibility. They absolutely are. They are in you. They are you. They are revealing your values. They are shaped by you, and they're your responsibility. And here's what I mean by that is emotions are concern-based construals. Here's what that means is so based on what you love, you are interpreting what's happening around you, and that results in a bodily affect of some kind, right? So the other week I was on vacation and a few things weren't going how I wanted them to go with extended family. And I was sitting on the beach on vacation, pouting, being frustrated, feeling out of sync, frustrated that I was not allowed to do the certain things I wanted to do, or that things weren't going how I wanted them to go. And I was just kind of sitting there pouting on the beach. And the phrase that I've said to other people, that I've said to myself, your emotions are your responsibility, came to mind. And so what I realized I need to do, instead of, was feeling like whenever you're pouting, you feel like you have license to pout. I was sitting there pouting. Things are not going how I want them to go. And I see my kids playing, having fun, and come play with me, Dad. And I'm like, just going to sit here and mope, very masculine emotion, moping and pouting. But I'm sitting there going, okay, my emotions are my responsibility. What do I need to do? Okay, number one, pouting is like passive, lame grieving. I need to lean into a moment of grief. Okay, things are not going how I want them to go. I need to say that is sad. I need to say I'm disappointed. I need to acknowledge reality. So that's number one, acknowledge the reality. Okay, now I'm already moving out of a pouty disposition because I'm acting with agency. Pouting is kind of like throwing up your hands, not acting with agency. But as soon as I start to cognitively acknowledge what's going on, what's kind of the seed here, now I'm going, okay, now I'm starting to feel like I have more control, like I have more power, because I'm adding language to reality. So, okay, I'm acknowledging that I'm grieving, that I'm doing whatever. I'm also kind of feeling powerless, right? I'm feeling powerless over my situation. So I'm going to do something that makes me feel powerful. And so what I did was I built a huge sandcastle. I'm going to dig a big hole that my kids like to play with. And I'm going to go, I made something. I did something. I was feeling powerless in this environment, but I used my power for good in this other environment. And my wife came back down after 20 minutes of giving me kind of being annoyed at my poutiness. And she goes, oh, you used to make me in a good mood. What changed? And I was like, well, I acknowledged that I had to grieve how things were going. And I decided to be an agent in my own life and act in power, even though I was feeling powerless. And so then I found my mood was changing. See, sometimes we think that our moods are these things we have no control over, and that we don't have any effect over them. And we go sorry, I'm just in a bad mood, as though it's like the weather outside, I have no say. But our moods are our responsibility, our emotions are our responsibility, and they need to be processed, acknowledged, and then acted on, but they are mine. And if I let my poutiness be a damper on my wife's day or my kid's day, then that's on me. And now I'm sinning. And this is the difference between emotions and sinning, I think, is that mostly emotions cannot be sinful, but I can respond to my emotions sinfully. And that is typically where the sin is. So I find myself sad. Sad's not sin, but then the choice to let that sadness become a poutiness, where I'm now demanding other people have a bad day like I am. Now I'm sinning. Now I'm being selfish. Now I'm being rude. I tell this to my kids all the time. You're allowed to be sad. You're not allowed to be rude. And so no screaming and yelling because someone else has a toy. That's rude. You can definitely be sad, but you cannot be rude. And you tell that to myself. Okay, so I initially was responding to my sadness sinfully, my feeling of powerlessness sinfully, but then the choice I'm going to do what I need to do to be a servant here and be a value add to this thing and not a net negative to it. Now I'm kind of walking in obedience to what the Lord has called me to do. I'm called to love my neighbor as myself. I'm called to consider others more significant than yourselves, Philippians 2. I'm called to be a servant, to wash feet, to be like the Son of Man who came to serve. And so I'm going to do that. I need to get myself in the emotional state where I can serve and where I will serve. And so sometimes kind of the passively receiving of disordered emotions, or passively receiving of things like poutiness. And so that type of male emotion is, I think, where we tend to get most awry. The road rage, the anger. It tends to be a cover for sadness and revealing a need for grief. But don't buy the lie that men are less emotional than women. I just think men tend to be differently emotional than women, and you need to understand that your emotions are your responsibility, and it's important that you process them and deal with them and subdue them and have dominion over them, just like you're called to do in Genesis chapter 1.